Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Yahweh being the true name of the world and called God, Ba'ashem being the name of, and Yahushai being the true name of the world and called Jesus. In the Rakakadash, meaning the Holy Spirit. I would like to give much respect, to the Akim and Aguafium, all you Akim and Aguafium, laboring in the truth of the Lord, in true faith and sincerity. Shalom. So today in this lesson, we're going to be basically going over, how basically all we need is a KJV Bible and the KJV Apocrypha. Those are the only two resources we need, the two scrolls we need, to internally, receive salvation. Because at the end of the day, the book of the Lord is a script for us, to follow, so we can enhance, our salvation, So at the end of the day, this is a problem, that's going around in the Israel, man. You got certain, various camps, out here trying to get deep, into, for example, the book of Enoch, basically these books, are man-made, they're not, prophetically sound, they're not, inspired by Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and we all know in the scriptures that every scripture is inspired by Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and also you have to know the history of how, basically the Bible was made, because the Bible, it wasn't created from a man, the Bible, first it was a bunch of letters. First, it was a bunch of, letters or scrolls, that the Spirit of the Lord, was put on the prophets, to basically write down. There was instances that certain prophets, they were writing, in their sleep, man. In their sleep, They wasn't even consciously aware that they was, writing these scrolls, So, various books, say so, the book of Genesis, Moses wrote those. The book of Revelations, that was all, written, on scrolls, first. They were written on letters, and all those letters, those scrolls got put in one, and then that was how the Bible was created, No man created no human, created, the whole Bible. There's no author of the Bible. The author of the scriptures is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, he put the Spirit on these prophets to write down these various things, to write down these prophecies, to write down these revelations, So first, let's go into the scriptures. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 34, starting at the 16th verse, and it reads, "Seek ye out the book of the Lord, and read, none of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and the Spirit it hath gathered them." So basically, the Lord commands us, to basically seek out, of the book of His, because He is the Lord, And notice how it says it's all caps, because it's talking about Yahweh, the creators of the heaven and earth, who the world only calls God. None of these things shall fail. And when it talks about none of these, it's talking about the prophecies, So, this book, that we're reading, the book of the Lord, is very prophetic. The things in the book of Enoch are not prophetic at all. It's all made up, it's made by a man. The book of Enoch, it's a made up book. It's written by a man. And none shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and the Spirit it hath gathered, So at the end of the day, the Spirit is going to lead you, to read out the book of the Lord. If the Lord is really dealing with you, you're going to be in the true scripts, So now let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, and verse 12, and it reads, "And further by these, my son, be admonished, of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh," So basically, the Lord's telling us, to be admonished, of making many books there is no end, because we know in the scriptures, there's many books throughout the scriptures. There's an Old Testament and there's a New Testament. And ultimately, there is no end of these books. So we don't need to, start reading the book of Enoch, because at the end of the day, we can't finish these scriptures, man. We haven't read everything out of the true scriptures of the Lord, So at the end of the day, we can never get tired of these scriptures. And much study is a weariness of the flesh, Of course, your flesh, may get, tired. Oh, why am I studying all the time? But at the end of the day, you putting in that work, reading the scriptures, it's ultimately, building your spirit, the flesh profiteth nothing, but the spirit is willing, remember that. In verse 13, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. So, keeping, the commandments is the duty of man. That's what men are supposed to do. They're out to follow, the commandments of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, So if the scriptures, seeking in the scriptures is part of the law, that means you have to seek in the true scriptures of the Lord, man. You have to seek in scriptures that are truly inspired by the Lord, that are prophetic. And we know, this KJV Bible and Apocrypha, these books are very prophetic, Why do you think in the scriptures, they call it the good book, the little book, the scroll? Why do you think it calls it a scroll, Why do you think it calls it, various, metaphorically, descriptive words, Because, this book is truly important, man. Even if you look at the word Bible, man, if you get any Bible, it's going to say holy and it's going to say Bible. And when you go into the true etymology, the true meaning of the word, holy, the word holy means separate. And the word Bible means book. So if you go put that hand to hand, that means separate book. So this book, is separate from everything. It's above every book on this planet, because this is a prophetic book. This is a book that's that is inspired, by the creator of the heaven and earth, So this isn't a book, that you should be reading in vain, because this is a very spiritual book. In this book is life and death, In this book is truth. In this book is everything, man. This book teaches you how to live life, the right way. It teaches you who to surround yourself around. It teaches you what to eat. It teaches you how to take care of your body. It teaches you how to what various medicines you're supposed to use. It gives you a lot of things, man. Ultimately, so this is why we have to continue, seek out the book of the Lord and read, as we're commanded to, So now, let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, and verse 29. Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and 29. And it reads, Lo, this only have I found, that Yahweh hath made man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. Let's read that again and slowly break it down. Lo, this only have I found. So, the prophet speaking right now, he's saying, lo, this is the only have I found. And he's talking about the scriptures, the Bible, the KJV Bible, 1611 Bible. Because ultimately, what King James did, King James, he was actually a so-called black man. And Esau knows that, during the Renaissance period, they ended up, changing, his color, making him a so-called Caucasian man. But when he's not, when you look at a picture of him, he has woolly hair and, he has melanated skin, So ultimately, all King James did, was basically translated, because the Bible was never changed. Only thing that happened to the Bible over time was that, it kept being translated, because at the end of the day, the Lord knew that we would be changing, into different, societies. We would be changing into different governments. So the Lord knew that we would have various, versions, in different languages, because If you look at the Old Testament is in the whole Hebrew. In America, majority, we're not speaking, Paleo ancient Hebrew. So the Lord knew that, so that's why he put it in the modern, English, so we could understand, you know. And if you look at the New Testament, it was written in the Greek. Majority of people is not speaking Greek right now. So this is why the Lord, he out, to, put out the Spirit on various people, to basically make translations, and make different versions, and that's ultimately what the Lord did with KJV, King James, and it says, lo, this only have I found, and he's talking about, the Bible, that God hath made man upright, because, this thing, that he's only found, has made man upright, without this book, man, we wouldn't have salvation, man. We wouldn't know what to do because this is the script, of the movie of Yahweh Bashim El Shah, But they have sought out many inventions, because at the end of the day, people, they're trying to find, new inventions, for example, the book of Enoch. What you trying to do there, When the scriptures continue to tell you there's only one book. Notice how the Lord, he's singular. He deals in a singular form. He loves one people. He has one son. The Lord is in its completion, The Lord's not, the author of confusion. So he's not going to have you in various, other books, which you're not supposed to do. And the Lord, too, he doesn't like the spirit of you being over righteous, trying to be super deep. Because at the end of the day, you have to, look at Yahushua. Yahushua, he was simple. He was simple. He did things, the simple way. He did things, there's a thing in the world that says work smarter, not harder, So if you continue, keep things simple, you move in the right way. You don't have to, try to dig deep, super deep, and be over righteous. The Lord doesn't like over righteousness. The Lord wants you, to keep things, in the balanced form, Let all things be decently done in order, So at the end of the day, people are trying to shout out many inventions, different books, but those books are not going to save you. Those books are not prophetical, And now, let's go to the book of 1 Timothy. This is the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 4, starting at the first verse. And it reads, now that the Spirit speaking expressly, that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirit and doctrines of devil. So, this is prophecy, that in the latter times, meaning in the last days in modern, English, some shall depart from the faith. So, and we see that, the sifting of this in the ministry, is happening. Various brothers are falling off, they're departing from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. Because at the end of the day, you trying to find the book of Enoch, you trying to read, a book that was created by an Edomite, talking about the scriptures. That's a seducing spirit on you, that's the spirit of Satan on you. And, and you continue to following that, you watching, other groups, telling you to read, various books, as the book of Enoch. I need to think of another book, man, that's, not, prophetically sound, At the end of the day, you're coming to doctrines of devils, man. In verse 2, speaking lies in hypocrisy, Slakia, having their conscience snared with hot iron, Because at the end of the day, you knew that all you needed was the KJV. You didn't have to go deep into these wicked books, these unrighteous books, So you're being ultimately a hypocrite because you knew the truth, but at the end of the day, you still, had your heart hardened, to read those books, man. Because the Lord didn't command us nowhere in the scriptures, to go into those books, man. Having their conscience seared with hot iron, because at the end of the day, those demons on you is like hot iron on you, man. It's just taking over your whole body. It's condescending your whole body, man. In verse 3, forbidding to marry and commanding to esteem for meats, which Yahweh hath created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth, So ultimately, hey, the Lord, put in a spirit on the prophet, to make certain examples, forbidding to marry, commanding to esteem for meats, that's various, things that people do that's over righteous, Ultimately, a lot of people, they try to make doctrines. Oh, you can't eat meat. Oh, you can't marry. Oh, you can't do this. Those are doctrines of devils, man. Because ultimately you can do those things. You can eat meat. Obviously there's nothing wrong about, being a vegan. That's great. That's great. Good for you. It's okay being single. But you telling a brother, making a doctrine that, a brother can't marry, and we know that sex is marriage according to the Bible. Saying a brother, you can't have intercourse, that's off. And telling a brother that they can't eat meat, that's off. And I've actually, seen a doctrine like that before. And it was coming from a person with dreads, man. In the scriptures it says a man shall be known by his look, man. This is a testimony from me. Before, you believe what someone says, you have to look at their appearance, man. Because a person, can't be telling me they have dreads. They can't be telling me Yahweh Shai, had a wife or kids. And they can't tell me that because ultimately, they're not following the full truth, So I'm not gonna listen to them. They're not doing the righteous things, you don't listen to them. Because especially those brothers, those people who try to get so deep, into the scriptures, try to make their own doctrines. They're the brothers, who are being hypocrites, basically, not casting out the beam in their own eye, but trying to be hypocrites, trying to tell other people what to do when they're not even doing the right thing, And we know that the Lord dealeth not with hypocrites, And now, man, let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 4, and verse 16, and it reads, let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in the time of need. And we know that, a way of grace, a way of mercy, is the scriptures, man. Because ultimately the scriptures, is what keeps us alive, man. The scriptures is what keeps that fire inside of us. The scriptures is our God, one of the scriptures, my favorite scriptures, is Isaiah 33:6. Wisdom and knowledge shall be that stability of the times. And where do you think you gonna get, the wisdom and knowledge? You gonna get that from the book of Yahweh Shemel Shai, the Holy Bible, the Holy KJV Bible, man. The separate book, the separate book. The book that was inspirationally given by Yahweh Shemel Shai, the creators of heaven and earth, man. So we have to come boldly unto the throne of grace, man. We have to continue to read every day, we have to continue to edify, feed the flock, and ultimately all those things that we're commanded to do, it comes from the scripts, man. Why do you think they call the scriptures, man? Because ultimately it's a script, man, that was given to us by the director, which is the creators of heaven and earth, man. So, with that, Lord willing, you're edified. All you need is a KJV Bible, in the KJV Apocrypha. Lord willing, you'll edify.